Hi darlings, I'm Angel and welcome back to Cozy Little Channel. So the day I'm recording this is November 30th, but the time you'll see this, it will be December. So yeah, you see I have my tree up. Super cute. So honestly, let's just get started. Hopefully I don't take too much time. I only read 9 books this month, which is still pretty good. Just like reading in general, right? Pretty good. So let's get started. Okay, so the first book I read was Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley, and I gave this a 5-star, or 5 stars rather. This book is so cute. It's super like rom-com, but just like of course with Black people. It's about or I'll say this, it's a fake dating romance trope. So if you're into that, this right here, super funny. And he is a football player turned baker, or not turned baker, but he's kind of trying to think of like a backup plan and stuff. So he has like a cupcakery, which is what like they call it, which is super cute. And he, like when they first opened, it's been kind of like, it was like when they first opened, it was really booming. It's like him and his 2 other best friends who are also football players. So it was getting like all like the buzz, all the clientele. It was peak. But then over time it just started dwindling. So like his business is kind of like not in the best compared to when they first opened. And she is named. So his name is Donovan and her name is Jada. Yeah, Jada. And she's kind of like but she's like a reality TV star. She was like on like a show that's kind of like The Bachelor. I forget what they call it. But yeah, so, and I guess like with how like the last episode aired or like happened, she's been getting so much hate, bad publicity, and it's just a lot for her. And they encounter one another, of course, at his bakery, and they had not like the best of the introductions, but like after a while, once they like officially get introduced to each other, they agreed to form I guess like an alliance or like a fake dating like trope or whatever, and to help both their reputations, so she could have like more positive press and his baking cupcakery shop can do well for like business for like him and like his friends and like all the other stuff. But yes, it is super cute, such a fun read. I have the second book on my shelf. I don't know if it's going to hit Kindle Unlimited because I read this on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought it because I'm like, I'm gonna like it. I know I'm gonna like it. It's super cute, and I agree with myself. Like, it's super cute. I bought it before I finished reading it, but yeah, it's great. I don't know if I said when I finished this. I finished this November 3rd. But yes, it's super cute. Like, I love this so much. And the second book is with another football player that you meet in here. I don't want to say that they're like you have to read them in order, but you'll just get like minor spoilers of like what happened to them if you read the second one, because the second one just came out like last month or something, and I like pre-ordered it and like I got it the day of it came out. Yes, Fake It Till You Bake It, such a good read. I love it so much. Love it. The next book I read was Forward by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart. I finished this November 6th and I gave it a 3.75 stars. Gave it 3.75 stars. I don't know why I keep wording that weirdly, but I enjoyed it. Like, if I can remember what it was, it was like a cozy fantasy romance, I should say. And it was like a fun read. I didn't really like the third act conflict or whatever, which I feel that's just a personal thing that I'm learning about myself, that I'm not a big fan of third act conflicts, because it's like you're doing so well and then all of a sudden what, you can't communicate anymore, you can't wait to listen to the side of the story, you can't have a conversation. But I enjoyed it. I read it. Will I read the other ones in the series? If there's nothing else, then sure, because they were still entertaining. Also spicy, like a little bit. Fake It Till You Bake It was also spicy, like a little bit. But for Red Magic, it was good. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. What is it about? We have I forget her name, but like the green, she's like half human, half orc. So we have her, and she was sent by this like ice king or something to go find like the last of the dragons and to kill them off or whatever. So she goes off on like this journey to do so, but as soon as she gets on like the sea, she gets shipwrecked and land to this island or continent or country, whatever, that she didn't even really know existed. And that's where she meets the white-haired fae. And it's kind of like a grumpy sunshine-ish romance. But I don't know if you really call him grumpy, because it's kind of like he has reasons why he is like the way he is, but I don't know. And at points in the story, I kind of got annoyed with like the half human, half orc woman, but I don't know, I like enjoyed it. And of course, like they eventually like fall in love and stuff. What else? I wasn't sure how this story was going to plan out, because how can I word it? It had like a trials trope, if we can even like call it a trope, where they had to like do these things to have like an ending goal. When she arrived at the island, she was in the middle of like their festival or something, and that's what they do and stuff like that. So they had to, so the half orc and like the fae had to like team up to, like the half orc woman and like the fae man, right, had to team up to, I guess, reach like the same goal or something. I don't know. It was interesting. Like, I enjoyed it for the most part. Hopefully that gave you like what it was like about, kind of a little bit. As you can see, like, I don't know, I feel like this month was so long. Like, November was so long, so I like barely remember, unless I really enjoyed it, barely remember like the books that I like read in between. But I still enjoyed it. Like I said, 3.75 stars for Red Magic. And then I read Sleepless in Alton by Jemiah Taylor, November 7th. That's when I finished it, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm gonna preface this and say that Jemiah Taylor is like a mutual of mine. If she still sees me as like her mutual or like friend or whatever, I don't know. But we do follow each other on like online and stuff, and she's been writing for like a long time. I feel like since high school, at least that's when like we met, kind of like high school era, like online during like Wattpad days. But I've been wanting to read something by her that's into, or that's surrounds the topic of the tropes and ideas that I like am into. So I like searched through her backlist and I found Sleepless in Alton. And it's a cute, like, fiction, of course fiction, but like a cute romance. And it's a short story, so it's like, I think it's 95 pages, 97 give or take, you know, what like Kindle does and stuff. But it's like less than 100 pages. It's basically like an hour to read. It's so good, and despite how short it is, you still get a sense of like these two characters belong together. Like they go for each other like so hard, and I guess you can say it's like kind of like insta love. And I know the last time we chatted, about I'm not a big fan of like instant attraction, but even here they still like over the course of time grew to like love each other and get to know each other, and just excited to like find out more like along the way as their relationship continues. But it's about Zora and Miles, and Zora is overseas on like a business trip. She's supposed to be there for like a week in like Alton, but when she lands, the people or family that she's supposed to work for had this big altercation, and either way she couldn't do it, but work turned into vacation. She was like, well, I'm gonna still be here, and just basically uses that as a vacation because she's been working literally since graduation and non-stop, so I needed vacation. And then while she's here, she meets this man named Miles, and they had like a and you'll kind of like, I'll like mention this again, but they had like a meet ugly instead of like a meet cute. And from there their relationship like grows and stuff. But it's super fun. I made notes because I was like, I wanted like these things to happen, or that would make me love the story like even more than I already do. So 3 things I wished while reading this book is I wish we got 1 to 2 chapters of Miles' POV, because it's only told in Zora's POV, just her perspective. And even though he seems like the type of guy who, like, you could read him like a book, he says what's on his mind. He doesn't like hold back, and he, you know, just tell it how it is and stuff like that. And he seems real like genuine and like approachable and all other stuff. And he, like I said, says whatever's on his mind. But if we could just like delve just like a little bit deeper to see how he thinks of her when he's not verbally saying it, right? Like if we just get like a chapter or 2 of his, even if it was in the epilogue, we could have like gotten that. Because I would have just loved to see like what he was thinking about her and just about the whole situation in general and all this other stuff. But that's like one thing. And then another, kind of like in the same, how I wish we would have gotten these bits of information earlier. So I wish we got a description of how Zora looked within like the first chapter or 2, instead of it being in chapter 6-ish, because this book's only 10 chapters and it's a short book, so they're short chapters. So I wish we would have gotten how she looked earlier, because we got an idea. We knew how Miles looked on first encounter. We knew how like these 2 couple at the bar looks at first encounter, and then we knew how her coworker looks first encounter. Like the first like opening scene, we know how her coworker looks, and we also know how the barista at like the cafe in like the first scene or 2 looks. And I'm like, okay, so how does Zora look? And we didn't get that until like chapter 6, which the story is about over. So I wish we would have gotten how she looked earlier, kind of just in a sense, because later on she says that she has braids. I'm like, oh, okay, so I can now not just picture her with like, you know, curls or something like that. She has, you know, braids. Unless the author was trying to put the reader in Zora's shoes and how the reader is Zora. Unless she was like trying to do that, then disregard like everything I've said. But if that's not the case, I still wish you would have gotten her, like how she looked earlier on, since we got everyone else that she interacted with, how they look. Even the chauffeur, like we got how he looks. So I wish we would have gotten how like the main character of the story looked, but like along the lines of getting how everyone else looked at first encounter, is how like I'm trying to like phrase that. And then another is, unless I missed it, if I missed it, then deep apologies, but I wish we got her job title sooner than we did, because we got what she does for work in chapter 7. But like I said, this is a 10 chapter book, and we did it. And I'm trying to think back, like, did they mention it in the first chapter and I just missed it? And if I did, deep apologies for missing it. But there were times where I'm wondering, okay, wait, what does she do for work? Because there's 11 jobs to where they could send you across seas for something. So I was like left wondering, okay, what does she do? Like, what's her occupation? And she wasn't the one who told us. Miles told us when they were having like a conversation about like jobs and stuff like that. So I'm like, so Miles knows what she does, but the reader doesn't. So I just kind of wish that we got like an idea or like something of like what she did. But like I said, if it was in there before, disregard this third like comment. But those are like the 3 things I wish we would have gotten in Simpson and Alton. But besides that, it was a fun read, also like spicy, and I like thoroughly enjoyed myself, and just super excited that I was able to read something of like Jemiah Taylor, because I've been wanting to read something of hers, but I want it to be something that I'm into reading. Like, I didn't want to have to force myself to read something for the sake of, oh, like we were friends, or like we're friends and stuff like that. So yes, super good. Like I still enjoyed it. And the next book I read finally is The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. I gave this 5 stars because why wouldn't I? And I finished this November 9th. I just really love this. It's super cute, and I feel like I'm like the last of the people who I follow on like BookTube and stuff like that to like read it, because almost everyone I follow like read this, and or who I watched rather read this, and they're saying it's so good. Even like my fluff finished this before I did. So I'm like singing its praises. I'm like, I need to read it. So I finally read this. It's super good. It's would you say like friends to lovers kind of. I don't say it's an attraction because like they do think the other is like attractive, but of course they're like both shy beings, so they're not gonna like act upon it, but I feel like they will still like friends first before like the love came. So I feel like friends to lovers, and it's like a cute like Black romance. She is in publishing, and he is like an author, and I don't know how to like like I don't know how to explain what it's really like about without spoiling it. So hopefully I can like try, or I'll just read the little like yellow thing here. A shy bookworm enlists her charming neighbor to help her score a date, not knowing he's the obscure author she's been corresponding with. So I was like wondering why this was really thicker than what I thought. That's because there's like a reader's guide for like discussions, but that's not like the biggest like really parts of like the book. Besides the point. But it's like super cute. And I was like afraid of this like happening, because I mentioned earlier, I'm not a big fan of like third act conflicts, because it's like, why all of a sudden can y'all communicate? But this is kind of like, there were times where they were kind of like not like aligning, but they talked about it and they talked it out, and they felt like, oh, like they felt like, oh, I need to like talk to him or talk to her, like I don't like how we left things. And so like they own it, and I really like that and appreciate it. But I don't know, it was like so good, super cute. Was it spicy? I feel like just like a little bit, not like super like crazy, but I really enjoyed this. It was really good. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say it, but I really did enjoy this. And there's like 2 other books in the series, because she's like the youngest sister of 3. It's like the Green sisters, and I think the other one is called like the something plot. I forget. And then the other one comes out I think early next year, called like the love lyric or something like that. But I don't know if I'll be like into the other sisters because I felt like more of like a closer connection to Lily, because she's, you know, into reach. She's like a book girly, I'm a book girly, and yeah, I just felt like a closer connection with Lily. I don't know if I feel a connection with the other two, and even like reading about them like in here like a little bit, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really vibing with like their personalities really, but either way, this is really good. I super enjoyed it. I read The Star Touch Queen by Roshani Chokshi, or Chokshai. I finished this November 15th and I gave this 4 stars. In case you don't like remember, but I read the Gilded Wolf series all by her and I super loved it, and I'm like, I need to find more books that she's written that I feel like I'll be into, because I like her writing style. It's very like poetic and like descriptive and illustrated like imagery with like the way she like pairs words together. It's like super good, and I stumbled upon this, or like it was like in my kind of reading like wish list like on Amazon, because like I write down or like I save books that I may want to read in there, and so this was like one of them, and I did enjoy it. It was like slow paced, but I felt like Gilded Wolves was slow paced, but I still, everything in Gilded Wolves makes sense, but in here it still makes sense. It's like it was more like fantasy, like fiction-esque, whereas Gilded Wolves like more historical fantasy. But yeah, it's like a fantasy romance, and it's basically this like young girl, or not like young, she's like 17. It's like the oldest of like her half siblings and stuff like that, and she has been learning so much about the politics of like the world, like the palace, that she thinks she's going to be like the next like leader of like the next ruler of like the kingdom, or something like that. But her father instead has her picking a selection of men to choose from so she can like be married and, you know, somewhere else. And she's like, what the heck? And then yeah, she's like, it was like blindsided, because she's like, I thought, you know, I'm like your birth child, like I came from you and like the first queen, like what the heck, which is like his, you know, his first wife. She's like the blood, you know, everyone else is like half or whatever. Or I don't know how it's really like, I don't want to say worded, but like really done, but that's just how I see it. She's like the firstborn, highly important and stuff like that. But of course, I think he made a comment of like, you might be like the favorite child, but you're still like you're still a daughter, right? So it's kind of like, dang. But she meets this like king, and gets whisked off into like this world to where she thought was just a whole fantasy. She thought it was all of like her imagination, that she would tell these little fairy tales to like her younger like little sister, like half sister or whatever, and she thought all the stories that she told her were just part of her imagination. But he is the king of this fantastical world that's supposed to be, in her mind, pure fantasy, pure fiction, right? Not real. And just adventure and stuff like that ensues. I like really like enjoyed it. I don't know, because it's a duology, and the second book is about not her, but of 2 characters that you meet in the first one. So it's like kind of like it's given like interconnected, but I feel like to get a broader understanding of what's happening in like the second book, you have to read the first one. But I don't know, either way, I enjoyed it. It was really good. But I probably won't read like the second one because it's not about the characters I've like grown to love, and I don't know if I really care about the other two characters that were like mentioned that much to read a story just about them. But yes, I read it. It was like really good. So yeah. And the next book I read was Cross the Line by Simone Sultani. I gave this 4 stars and I finished it November 21st. Another spice romance, not like spice, right? It's like, I feel like it's like just in here. But it was like really good. I enjoyed it. It was like funny. POC characters, because they're both, she's like half black, half white, but I feel like kind of maybe leaning towards like the black side of things. I don't know, but he's like half white and half it's in here, but I don't know what page, but like Middle Eastern like era, but of course if you put him and like a white man together, you're gonna say, oh, he's Middle Eastern, right? Like it's that they look more like POC than they do white, but they're still like half nonetheless. But anywho, so he's a race car driver, like an F1 driver. His name is Dev, and his social standing is just not the greatest, especially like the scandal that happened like prior to like the story starting. It was just, his name is just not in the best of places. And her name is Willow, and she went to school for what's it called, for like social management, something like that. And ever since she's graduated, she's been trying to find a job, but like no one's really like hiring her. Or she'll do these interviews with like expecting to get like a call back or like an email saying, you know, we've been to the da-da-da. But of course, if you know like the job hunting woes, then she's just not getting nothing. And so she goes overseas to Macau, I think that's where these two like reunite again after not seeing each other for like years and stuff, because she was invited with her like older brother, who is like, her older brother and him are like best friends. But so in like her and like her older brother went to Macau to see him race, or I think to see him race, and also some type of like little big event and stuff like that, because her brother was in like F1 like racing, but he got out of it because he's like, I'm not gonna kill myself or put myself in any other danger like besides. So he like got out of it and is now just, he's still doing well for himself. He's like doing like other things. But long story short, he needs a social media like manager. She needs a job, and boom, that's how the story like flows. And they both had crushes on each other, but they're trying not to act on those feelings because of their relationship with her brother. What was his name? I forget her brother's name, but like Dev doesn't want to like pursue the sister because of like some past that happened. And of course it's like, that's like my best friend, and I can't really do that. And of course she doesn't want to, because it's like, you're my brother's best friend, and that's gonna be like super weird and all this other stuff. But they have strong feelings for each other. So it's kind of like a workplace romance, childhood friends to lovers, if you really want to call it that. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. And the second one comes out like summer next year with like a character that was like mentioned in here, and I'm like excited to read that, because of course the main girl in that one, she's black, but the guy that's mentioned in here, he seems just like not the person. So I'm curious to see how his story like unravels and goes, and I'm just here for it. And of course the main character is black, so we love representation. But yeah, Cross the Line, really good, 4 stars. if you're wanting something like pretty, like not like intense, but like just like a romance, this is good. This is good. I started my Christmas reading early because I wanted to like, I have like a lot of Christmas books saved, and I wanted to make sure I have like enough to read for December, because that might be my December reading, just Christmas with like a splash of like a cozy fantasy here and there. But I read Merry Inkmas by Talia Hibbert, and I finished this on November 22nd, and I gave this a 3.75 stars. Now I will say this, that it's hard for me to fully rate shorter stories, like short reads, like novellas and anything that's like 150 pages or less, because they only give you so much information, and only like required information just to have like the story and the plot to have a beginning and an ending that flows and connects. Now I know before when I reviewed Sleepless in Alton, I gave it a 4.5, because I feel like with these type of short reads I won't give them anything bigger than a 4, but because like she's like a mutual and like I really like her writing style, like she got that extra like 0.5 points. But I give this like a 3-star read, because this is the author who wrote my favorite book, The Roommate Risk, and the Brown Sisters series. I think that's also her as well, which I haven't gotten into, but I might have to check that out probably within like the new year or something. But like I said, I'm into like my holiday reading, and yeah, this is, now correct me if I'm wrong or if I might be like dramatic, but this was a romance story that happened to take place, I should say, during Christmas time. Kind of like Die Hard is like an action movie, but just happened to take place during Christmas time, and people are saying that's like Christmas movie. Don't dox me, I'm just saying what I've heard about Die Hard, because I feel like people die hard for Die Hard. But I feel like this gave that vibe, because when I'm picking up a Christmas read, I want there to be like a just more of like a Christmassy aspect. It'd be like, I don't know, a Christmas tree farm, or like baking, or like just like Christmas magic, if that like makes any like of sense. But I didn't really get that for this. Of course, there was like some decorations, and it was like cold, and there was like a little cafe scene in the beginning. But once we moved past that, it's kind of like it's just a romance that's taking place during the holidays. But it was short. I still like enjoyed it for like what it was. It's also like spicy, some like spice in here as well. And like I said, like I enjoyed it. I do want to read more from her, because I'm still trying to hold on to like the Roommate Risk quality of writing. So I may check out her other like backlist, or the books in her backlist, to see what goes on and what I'm missing out on. But yes, started off my Christmas reading early. After that, I read Mistletoe Blues by Bella J. It's also like a short read. I finished this November 27th, and because I didn't say it, I gave this 3 stars. It's 82 pages. Like I said, it's like a short read, and it's hard for me, as we already know, that to like rate a shorter books higher than 4, unless they're mutual. But this was it was giving me more Christmas than Merry Inkmas, because it's like, of course, the holiday season is like the day before Christmas, or something that's like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and stuff like that. And it's about these two characters have been honestly pinning for each other for like a while, but it just happened that Christmas is during the time where they finally act upon those feelings for one another. Of course, they're like Black people, so it's like a Black romance. It's also like spicy. It's like Christmas spice, if I can really call it that. But I enjoyed it. I was entertained. That's kind of really it. It's fast paced, lighthearted, just something to break away from like all like the fantasy and stuff like I've been reading and playing like games and stuff like that. So it was a nice read. And then last off, on November 27th, I finished The Holidays by Brittany C. Cherry, and I gave this 4 stars. This is the type of, well, this is also giving Christmas or like a romance that happened to take like during Christmas, but I still enjoyed it. It was like lighthearted and a bit like spicy too, and it was like funny. I really like enjoyed it. And this is like one of the books that was like recommended to read like during Christmas by like Black authors or featuring like Black characters and stuff like that. And The Holidays was like one of them, and so yeah, I enjoyed it. It's giving, oh, because earlier I mentioned they had like a meat ugly. This is where the term came from, because they had a meat ugly, so like a meat cute. So Holly, our main character, is trying to find like a date for Christmas to like take back home and stuff like that, because last Christmas her relationship ended tragically. I don't know if that's a spoiler, and I wouldn't want to like spoil that. Okay, no. So it's in the about page or on like the description on the back of the book. So like her fiance left her last Christmas. And so this Christmas, like coming around, like her family really wants her to get with someone, to like, because like they care about her, but she's trying to do it to like have her family like shut up. So, and so like she's been like going on these different dates and stuff like that. And then Kai, who's like the grumpy restaurant owner that Holly is having like these dates at, begrudgingly decides to help her for the sole sake of like she needs to get out of my restaurant. But of course over time they just start having feelings for each other, and it turns out that like Kai wants Holly and he has to like fight with like his feelings and whatever else. But yes, like it's super cute, lighthearted. I like romances where like, you know, they're gonna get together at the end. But it's just fun to see like how they get to that point. And yeah, that is like all I read. But yes, that is all I have for you today. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you'd like to see more exclusive videos like this, whether it's about more books, which is just reading wrap-ups, or if it's about like gaming, or you want to see like more gaming content from me, be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.